Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and welcome to a new StarCraft II video. Today we are going to be talking about something completely different, and something that I have never touched about StarCraft II before, and it's hotkeys. Hotkeys are those thingies that you can adjust inside of the game to actually make reaching your hotkeys, which are the keys on your keyboard obviously, a little bit easier. Now, I haven't really talked about this subject too much because I honestly don't know if whatever I am using is the correct way of using them. However, I do know that using correct hotkeys is a huge advantage as far as playing StarCraft II. I'm a high APM player, as some people might know that watch the live stream. I easily hit about 300 to 400 actions a minute. So, like, hitting the correct buttons is incredibly important. Now, I use a setup called the grid hotkey settings, which is a hotkey standard in StarCraft II. You can actually just go inside of the game and select the grid hotkeys, and it will result in the grid hotkeys. Now, let's actually switch over to my hotkeys. So this is the keyboard that I personally use. It's actually the Razer Black Widow. Now, as you might have already noticed, the first thing that you will probably see is that I actually ripped out a bunch of the keys. I actually ripped out all the macro keys, which are the keys that I don't ever use anyway. I ripped out the tilde key, and I also removed the Windows key, which is a pretty terrible key when you think about it. But in general, I really like playing like this. Now, first of all, we are going to be talking about the reasons why I actually removed those keys. Now, as you can see on the F key right here, as well as on the J key, there are those little tiny thingies that basically help you guide your hand around the keyboard. Now, when you are typing blindly, your fingers will always remember like the position that they are at by simply rubbing a little bit over this little F icon right here, which will make my brain apparently realize that it is on top of the F key. Now, this is something that you don't really realize by just using it, but it is something that you are completely used to. Now, I figured that if I want to be using like all the QWERTY hotkeys right here, like let's say for example I'm just spamming all those keys right here, it might be useful for my ring finger right here to realize it's on top of the one key 100% of the time. So I figured I should probably remove the tilde key just to make that a little bit easier, and that way guide my hand to a little bit of a better hotkey setup. And same pretty much goes for this key right here, which allows my pinky sometimes to figure out where it is exactly located, so it once again is easier for me to find my hotkeys. Now, the second subject that we are going to be talking about is the QWERTY or the grid hotkey settings. What it basically means is that it uses this square of your keyboard right here. It uses those keys only. Now, I don't really have a specific reasons why I use those hotkey preferably over the other hotkeys. The main reason why I do use those is that it actually is a little bit easier to learn. Let's say I am actually playing a new game of StarCraft II and I want to learn all the stuff that is going on. Well, those hotkeys are just a lot easier to memorize because you can look at the bottom right corner of your screen and then look back at your keyboard and you know exactly where it is at. However, there are some weird funky ways, or there are some few funky movements that you have to make when you are using the standard or the grid hotkey setup. First of all, your attack move button, which is standard the A button, is actually the T button for me. So if I want to be moving my, or attack moving my forces around, I actually have to hit T and then click across the minimap or across the field and actually attack that way. Now, the other hotkey that is kind of messed up, and that's probably way worse than T, is actually X. For queen injects, I use this thing called X, which is kind of hard to hit. Let's say, for example, I want to be making Zergling. So what I do is usually hit 4, I hit Q, which is right here, and then I hit E. So what happens is that I hit that. So I make hotkeys, or I make Zerglings using the E button. Now, let's say I want to be switching to my queens, which is 5, and then I need to hit to X, which is my inject hotkey. So I need to go all the way over there. That is quite a hassle. What would be much easier if I actually rebind it to something like T or Y, or something that is like close to the 5 hotkey, so I can actually easily switch around. Let's say, for example, I should switch it to Q, which would happen. What would happen is 5Q, inject. That would be much easier. However, the way that I've went around this is by using the space bar as my backspace button. Normally, the backspace button is the button that brings you to all your hatcheries. Now, actually rebind my space button or my backspace button to the space button, so I can actually use select all my queens, hold down shift, go to X, and then spacebar click, spacebar click, and then go back to my normal stuff, which is something that is incredibly useful for me. Now, as with everything else, it is all personal preference. This is what I personally use. I have not rebound too many keys in StarCraft II. This is personally what I use, and I hope you learned something from this little video. As always, please leave me your thoughts of the video in the description below, and also don't forget to hit the like and favorite and share button if you really enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, guys, and have an awesome day. Bye!